Welcome back, everyone, to Guinness and Gangsters, and none other than Lions Fountains. Lions Fountain. Oh, mine's way too high. I didn't get the finger placement right. Ooh,
Not bad.
All right, should we just keep going?
Yeah. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of podfathers, ex-Mafia members who turned online platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts. They tell stories, offer advice, and claim they've changed, but have they?
Our goal is simple. It's to figure out whether these guys are truly reformed or if it's just an online redemption arc and a smart business move.
We each looked into one podfather. We're both everywhere online, from long podcasts to short motivational clips.
And by the end, we're going to answer the real question. Is it a real redemption or all a facade?
First, let's look into Johnny Alley, a former Gambino hitman in New York. Let's roll the clip of him growing up in New York.
The man taking me around grew up here and became a killer. His job was to do the mafia's dirty work on the streets. Meet John Elite. He's still known in these parts as the sheriff.
How dangerous an area was this, John?
Well, back growing up, this area is called Woodhaven. That's the name of the section. We nicknamed it Death Haven.
Death Haven?
Yeah, there was constant murders here, constant rivalries between different guys in the street, different mob families. So we would kill almost at will as somebody given a beating. My friend Angela was shot here 3 or 4 times on the corner, shot in the head, back several times. The bar owners on this corner, there was a double homicide there. Those are just a couple. I mean, there's probably a dozen bodies just on this 2 blocks here.
How many of these incidents were you involved in, John?
Directly, quite a few. Indirectly, always. But somehow I'm tied into everything that goes on around here. This was my neighborhood. I kind of enforced it. I happened to grow up here, and as I aged, I took over this area.
All right, that clip's a little interesting. I mean, he obviously grew up in a rough area, but towards the end when he started to talk about how he nicknamed it Death Haven and talked about how he was involved in all of the things that went down there, it makes it seem like he's reliving his glory days, but we won't cut him off just yet for being a phony. I think he still...
I think he talks about his past with a little bit of pride, more than, a murderer should have. But, yeah, we'll give him benefit on the doubt this time.
Yeah, we'll look into some more. So let's go look at some stuff he does now inside of that city. So let's roll the clip of John Elite doing a speaker event at his
Turn around
school.
and look at some of the officers here. Those are role models for you guys. When I was a kid, I looked at them and I cursed them. I wanted to fight them. I wanted to be that person that blamed them for my life. And maybe not them individually, but people like them. That's an excuse not to move on with your life. That's your excuse not to be a better person. I was a good ball player. I played baseball, got a scholarship in baseball till college. I ruined that. I ruined that being a tough guy on the street. I ruined that following some of my friends, thinking they were the smart ones. And I followed them right into prisons. And by following them into prisons, you're going to find yourself without a good life, a life that's going to be suffering.
So that clip obviously shows some of the good that he's doing now, telling kids that they don't have to follow the same path of him and let their environment make them. So obviously he's got some good things going for him, just not reliving his bad mafia stuff. What are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, he definitely seemed remorseful, and seemed like he regretted his past year and wanted a better future for the kids or in the audience he was talking to. So this was a good clip on his.
It's good
for him.
It looks like he's really turned things around and he's actually making a difference by doing things in his community and talking to the younger generation and trying to get them to be better people.
I think we're going to need a third clip for the tiebreaker here.
So, however, like Brody was mentioning, there's another side, which is direct clips from his TikTok. Keep in mind these are
I
unedited.
drove up near Shea Stadium, which is now Citi Field, and shot him in the head 2 times.
So you put a gun to the back of his head and shot him?
Yeah, it was my hit, and I was going to do the work. I don't like to use the word pride, but at the time, that's what I was thinking. I'm going to take pride in what I do, and I'm going to do it good.
what happened to the body? What did you do with the body?
Just picked it up. I told the guys move it, throw it on the side of the road like garbage. We wanted the public, and more so street guys and his brother-in-law, to understand. You do something you're not told, and you disobey our laws and our rules. There is no negotiating. You're going to be killed, and we want everybody to know as an example that you're going to get killed. And we also want them to know who's killing.
All right, now obviously that clip is not, showing him in a good light. It really seems like he enjoyed his Mafia time in there. Obviously, by putting in the music, that was just that was just unnecessary. And then the little edit of him at the end, shirtless, flexing, it makes him show. It's him trying to show himself as a tough guy, as a Mafia guy who you don't want to mess with. But at the end of the day, he's still a Mafia. And in his head, he's just chasing fame. What did you see there?
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get viewer engagement on that one with the music playing. It was very edited video, wasn't very raw, and intimate in that sense.
And I didn't see any remorse. It was like he's kind of bragging about it. He said, he doesn't take pride, but that's what I do. Like
exactly
I'm
what
a
I was
cold-hearted
about to say.
killer.
He's like, I don't like to use the word pride, but, and then he says, but
and
then
I
he
took
goes
pride.
into how he took pride in it. So, and he kind of, I feel like he makes himself look like a tough guy.
He does.
In
He
this
wants
clip
to,
a lot, and he wants people to think he's a tough guy still.
All in all, I think he has ulterior motives of just being a changed, remorseful man. I think he's going after fame and appearance of being that tough male. All right, so now we're gonna get into our second guy. Brody knows a lot more. All right, before we get into part 2 of this video, we want to shout out our sponsors. Lions Fountain. Today is Monday. They have a special deal every day. Today's Monday. It's paying US dollars today. Tuesday is wing day, and Wednesday is taco day. So get into
Cruise
it.
on down to Lions Fountain.
I come here, come here, get some food.
Sponsoring this video.
Nice
Cheers.
pint. Cheers.
All right. We're going to jump into Mafia member number 2. We got Anthony Bingy Arlotta. And Arlotta was a captain for the Genovese family in Springfield. He was tried and convicted of 2 murders. Adolfo Bruno, who's a mob boss, and then Gary Westerman, who's a mob associate, along with other crimes like extortion, etc. And after a plea deal, he only had 99 months in prison. He immediately cooperated with the feds, giving them the location of Gary Westerman's remains and exposing the whole Bruno murder plot. He went on to testify at 2 separate trials, setting 2 of his former crew, along with the former New York Mafia-based acting Genovese family boss Arthur Artie Negro and the loan shark Emilio Fusco to prison. He's been labeled one of the best Mafia informants ever by federal prosecutors, but unlike Elite, he's not everywhere.
Dad, we're going to go to jail for the rest of our lives. It was a death penalty case, but they ain't going to give us death. So we're going to go to jail for the rest of our lives. There's 4 of us, 3 of us, me and 3 other guys from our area. I said, they wouldn't let us kill John Bologna. Artie's not in the system. I go, let's make a deal, cooperate. We'll stick together. It'll be like the mass faction.
And what's life like for you now?
Right now, I'm blessed and grateful that I have a second chance in life. I was doing a little real estate. I have my own wine business out called Potts. All
right, so in this clip, you can kind of hear him talking about how he became an informant and what his thought process was to getting there, and then goes on to explain that, and then talks about how he's glad he got a second chance at life afterwards, and he's really glad that he's in the position and fortunate enough to be in the position he's in now. And along with
it's definitely a lot different than Elite. That's what I was gonna say. It's a lot more. He's actually talking about the inner workings and trying to explain what actually happened, whereas Elite is glorifying what he did himself. So off to a good start with Biggie.
It's a lot about him talking about his experience and not making it about other Mafia members, and it's an unedited raw one-on-one interaction between him and his interviewer. It's not even his own platform he's doing this on, so I think this is good start.
I had good parents. My father had a fruit and vegetable store.
Italian imported products. He was the biggest wine grape distributor in all of Mass. I used to work for him. That's the only job I really had until later on in life when I got out of all this. So it was a family business. I used to work with him. And it was nice. I grew up nice. I was into sports as a young kid. I was always getting into fights and getting into trouble, but I was always into sports and growing up with the neighborhood kids. We had like I said, a lot of Italians, heavily populated. We had a gang of us. The south end of Springfield was loaded, back then with different age groups of Italians. And that's how I grew up, working with my father's business. And we were constantly getting into fights as young kids, and it led me to getting arrested several times and eventually, going to prison at a young age, state prison in Mass. But yeah, the younger years were really good with me. I have no complaints. I was brought up by a good family, and it was fun around here in Springfield.
All right. After seeing clip number 2, Bruno and I are both pretty impressed still. He's talking about, how he got roped into the mafia in the first place, how as a little kid, these guys would walk into his shop and left impressions on him and made him curious about, oh, they have respect, they have authority, I want to be like them. But then he still admits, he's not saying it's not his fault that he wasn't involved. He still admits to taking part and taking action and wanting to be involved in the mafia. But once again, no flashy editing, just a one-on-one conversation where he's genuinely reflecting on his past.
Again, different than Elite, where he's talking about how tough he was and all of that. It's more, I was an impressionable young kid, and this is what happened, and I feel bad about it, but I still did the thing, so I deserve, to be looked down upon.
Yeah, and did you feel like he was being, emotional about genuine about his past mistakes and
like
broken relationships?
He didn't want it to happen, but it's sort of just how the path of life took him.
Yep.
All
I'm
right.
definitely picking up some.
So let's see our last of the 3
remorse.
clips, and we'll talk.
And now I'm 56, and I appreciate life. You look at life differently, and I look back at my life, and to be honest, it's like it's too different of me. It's like I can't believe I was involved in all those, murder conspiracies, murders, violence. I look back at the life lived, and sometimes I don't even believe it.
All right, in that clip, I think he's definitely talking more about, how the mafia is deceptive, how it's false, and points out he critiques the mafia a lot, which I feel like Elite doesn't necessarily critique it, but he doesn't go out of his way to not defend it. And I feel like this is, once again, just showing you how much different they are. Arlotta, once again, doesn't have his own YouTube channel, doesn't really have a personal brand, no TikTok, but more just talks about his story, his perspective, and how, to avoid his path of life as a young kid.
He's definitely trying to deter people in his position from joining the mafia by giving them some of the downsides of saying they're not that tight, everything like that. One question I do have is, why is he smoking the cigar during the interview? I mean, that's a little questionable, but we'll let it slide because he has a good track record so far. But I think, safe to say, I think he's one of the good reformed mafia
if that was
members.
his idea, or if it was the people interviewing him. His
we'll let
idea.
that go.
Yeah, we'll let it slide. Definitely a little questionable.
I think we can end it and say he is reformed, he is helping, and Elite is opposite. All for show.
Did some other searching and how people tagged him, words like rat, snitch, mafioso on social media platforms, and he never engages back. He doesn't defend the mafia code. He doesn't attack other informants. He's very low profile now, just working on himself, it seems like. So I think we're going to give this one a stamp of reformation.
Good. All right.
Cheers.
Very
Cheers
good
to being
episode.
reformed.
See you guys next time.